Hey, good morning everybody. Today's video, I've been pretty excited to do this for a while now. I've done the tune on my truck, the Ford Performance tune, and it is an adaptive tune. So it takes some time to calibrate, to do all of its magic, to really get that extra power. When you first install it, transmission shifts better, but you're not getting all that power they promise you. You might get a little bit of it, but over the years, as you drive it more, or over the miles, a couple hundred miles, couple weeks, month or so, you really start to hear it open up, feel it open up, and it gets a whole lot faster. So I did some 0 to 60 runs with my bed cover, my tonneau cover, my bed rack, all my stuff on there, like 600 pounds worth of stuff. And those numbers were not extremely impressive. It was very similar to the stock numbers without all that stuff. So, I mean, I guess that's good because you're adding 600 pounds and still doing 0 to 60s from 5.8. But without any of that stuff, I was able to get 5.1s, 5.3s, 5.0s, and one 4.9. And that was up and down a little bit. All of these, according to Draggy, are invalid because I didn't have enough satellite coverage. But what I did do is in editing, I would see when it started, see when it ended, and compare the time. And they were within like 2/100ths of a second every time. So I still think it's good, but I couldn't like submit it for whatever you submit those for. Anyway, here's the video. Hope you enjoy it. I am very happy with this tune. It's phenomenal. And if you want to see some 0 to 60 runs, this is the video. I've got everything out of the back of my truck. This is everything that was in the bed of my truck. So the floor mats, these bins full of recovery gear and hammocks and other stuff, a couple Pelican case type things, Apache cases. I've got my entire rack system, my 7-gallon water thing, it's empty. 4 gallons of fuel is full. A couple other things. So that's what's in there, or was in there. Now that's empty. Now I'm just going to empty out the back seat. Okay, so that's everything. I'll be curious when I edit this to see how much more this was squatted down with all that stuff on the back versus now. I'll just do a side-by-side of it just to see. I'm not going to take the spare tire off as much as I want to, just to try to go sub 5. But if I'm at like 5.04, 5.05 and I can't beat it, I will come home, take it off, and do it again. Got my Draggy charged up, or at least it's still charging. So tomorrow morning it'll be at 100%. Throw it out on my dash, get these 0 to 60s. Okay, all the runs are done, the results are in. I was just gonna go straight into it, but I wanted to give a little bit of context. So when I first got the truck, it was full of 93 octane. I did a couple 0 to 60s within the first 1,000 miles, so I didn't do a very good job with my break-in period. But all of those runs averaged 5.8. Density altitude was very similar today. It was 50 degrees, negative 200 to negative 300 feet of density altitude. And those runs were a 5.8, 5.8, 6.0, 5.8, 5.5, and 5.7. With like 1 or 2 degrees up and down. So average 5.8, stock 93 octane. A couple weeks later, I ran 87 octane for 2 tanks and did some more runs, and those averaged 6.32. All pretty even, no ups and downs. I did 3 of them at exactly 6.32, one at 6.34, 6.36, and 6.55. So again, similar conditions. It was a little warmer, 64 degrees, 900 feet of density altitude for an average of 6.3. And then with 93, with the tune, with a couple thousand miles on the tune, so it had completely adapted and it was all set up, I ran it a bunch of 0 to 60s with the bed rack and everything that I took off for this video. So those, it was a little warmer, it was 70 degrees and 1,350 feet of density altitude, but those were a 5.8, 5.6, 6.1, 5.4, 6.1, 5.8, 5.7, and 5.9. Variation there was probably a little bit of the launch and a little bit of the incline or decline of the road, but the average with 600 pounds worth of stuff on the back was a 5.8. And then today, when I did all the runs with, you know, same thing, tune had a couple thousand miles on it, so it's completely ready, 93 octane, totally empty, so probably 600 pounds lighter, and I ran a 4.9, 5.3, 5.3, 5.1, 5.4, and 5.0. The 4.9 was a little bit downhill, 1.7 degrees downhill. The 5.3 or 5.28 was actually at 2.25 degrees uphill, so even more than the downhill. But I think the average was close to about 5.1. If you were to average out the inclines, declines, and then average the times across, was a 5.1. Density altitude today, 46 degrees, negative 500 feet density altitude. So pretty close, not exactly the same, but as close as I can get it. So to round it all out, stock 93, 5.8. Stock 87, 6.3. So there's a half-second difference right there. And then with the tune, with everything empty like this down to a 5.1. So then you gain another 0.7 seconds. And then with the tune and all the stuff on the back, it averaged 5.8. So just like it was stock with no stuff on the back. And then I also did some 0 to 60s with like 1,000+ pounds of mulch in the back. And those were both around 8 seconds. Not very impressive, but that's what the video coming up is going to be. The 5 runs from today, and then another video where I did all of the other runs, but I'll edit it down so it's just the runs. So that's it. I'm really happy with it. The tune is incredible, and it does take some time to adapt. There's another really great video, and I'll link it in here, that talks about how the tune works, because I've seen a lot of videos comparing, you know, they do a run, they put the tune, and then they do another run. That's not really fair to the tune, because the tune doesn't give you all that power on day one. It takes a little bit of time to adapt, a little bit of driving time to actually calculate everything it's going to do and then go. So you got to give it some time. I talked about that in a previous video, and then the video I'm going to link, very detailed about it. They do dyno tests the day they had it stock, the day they put the tune on, and then a couple weeks later they did it again, and it was improving. But anyway, there you go. Here's the 0 to 6 time. Sorry it took so long to get here, but here you go. I mean, if you're gonna have a truck, you might as well do truck things. Filling it up. Okay, we did 0 to 60s with mulch. Now we're gonna do it with a bunch of trees. See how it does. I did a couple 0 to 60 runs wondering why it was not as fast as normal, and I realized I'm sucking air from in here instead of having the cowling that comes down and pulls the air from up in the front. So I was pulling in some warm air. I wasn't looking at my charge temps, but that's probably a big part of it. So with the plastic cowling back on, you can see the intake is going to be coming through. You've got this rubber here, which is going to go down and be on here. So you're getting all of your air right through this section right here. So you can still see the wires, but it shouldn't be an issue. And then when I was driving, I mean, there was probably cold air coming up from here, but I was also just sucking all the air from in there. Okay, not a safety, or not a sales pitch, but a safety pitch. Get a small fire extinguisher. This thing, a 4-pack of these on Amazon was 60 bucks. So they sell like 6-packs and 8-packs for 40. Those are water-based. This is a dry chemical-based. It's good for electrical fires. It's good for just regular fires, burning fuel, all that stuff. So I have one of these. I'm gonna try to find a way to rig it somewhere where I can get it as I'm getting out the driver's side. Right now it's just floating around in the back, but this is something you should always have. Not just for if your car catches on fire, but if you see someone else is on fire on the side of the road and it's still early, you can help put that out. So anyway, this is Dry Stop, Amazon, 4-pack, 66 bucks. I have one in the kitchen, one in the basement, one upstairs, one in my truck. I'll probably buy another pack to put one in my wife's car, one in the garage. Just have these things all over the place. I mean, I think they're good for 10 years. And all you do is you just yank this thing out and then you just push down, point it at the fire. It's got this little finger hole. Haven't used it, watched the videos on it. Reviews are really good. Seems like a great thing to have in your vehicle.
It's over!